I am going to walk you through all the must-have software tools and apps that I use on an everyday basis as a serial side hustler, solopreneur, and a full-time tech worker. And hopefully by going through this, you'll be able to identify some tools and apps that are going to help you with your everyday workflow to help keep you more productive and organized. Digital innovation has brought us so many software tools and apps and websites that are designed to help us keep our day more productive and organized and help us with our daily tasks. And it's a beautiful thing, but the problem is there's just way too many of them now. I mean, the average person can sit there for hours every day just kind of combing through these different options to try to figure out which ones are the best for them to use. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to attempt to help you out a little bit. And so the best way for me to go through this for you is just to kind of walk through my day in a chronological order and explain to you what that flow looks like for me in order to keep myself organized and productive. So the first thing, I have my morning routine. Every morning I'm waking up. The first thing I need to do, whether it's during the week or on the weekend, is that I need to get my dog up, get her taken care of, take her for a walk, get her breakfast. And so for me, I'm not a morning person. I like to ease into my day. So I do that. The first thing I want to do is I want to open up my phone and go to the Apple Podcast app. So whatever phone you have, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, whatever, there is some type of app that you can use to listen to podcasts. Now, your podcasts are going to vary depending on what you're into, but for me, I like to get my day started by listening to Reflections of History. It's just a short, quick little podcast that goes through events that happen on that day throughout history. Just a way for me to get a little history and a little education to get my day started. And then after that, it's going to either fluctuate between podcasts that I listen to, and if I don't have any podcasts lined up for that day, then the second app I'm going to use is Audible, because I tune into Audible. It gives me a good 15 to 20 minutes while I'm walking my dog to listen to whatever book it is that I have lined up in my queue for that day. If you don't have yourself an Audible membership, make sure you go sign up for that. It'll change your life. It's a great way to get yourself some knowledge while you're doing your everyday tasks like walking your dog. So once I finished walking my dog and I got her settled in, I got her breakfast, I took my shower and stuff, I usually start my day by going in and checking my Readwise summaries. Now, the way that I get my Readwise summaries is through email. My main email service is Microsoft Outlook. And so I'll go in, check my email, and see what Readwise summaries are there. They get sent to me every day, 5 summaries of books that I read in the past. Just helps me kind of, comb through to get some positive motivation for the day. And then what I'll go from there is I'll go to my phone, I'll go into my Twitter app and engage in Twitter, respond to some comments, see what kind of notifications I have. Next app I go into on my phone is my Gmail app. Now, my primary app is going to be Outlook. That's all for my personal emails. But as a serial side hustler and solopreneur, I do have other business endeavors, and each of those different business endeavors have a different Gmail account associated with it. So I'll go into my Gmail and I'll check all of my emails for the day and comb through those, respond to those that are urgent, those that aren't urgent, or if it's something that's going to take deeper concentration or a little bit more thought, then I'll go ahead and flag that to do later after I get off of work. Next thing I do is I'll jump in and check my YouTube app and look at all of my analytics to see, how my videos are doing, what kind of responses, are there any comments to respond to. And then with the extra time I have in the morning, I'll jump on my Kindle, I'll go to my Kindle app, and I'll start reading whatever book I have queued up for that day. Next must-have app is Notion. Now, Notion has many different use cases. For me, my main thing is that I have a daily dashboard that I open up every day. That dashboard is going to give me an overview of all the different projects that I'm working on. It's going to have my daily tasks, so my daily habit tracker. My habit tracker happens to track everything that I learned, what I read, what I listened to, how much time I spent learning over the past couple of days, and so I can make sure that that's completed, filled out for the previous day, and start filling it out for this day. Next thing I do is I go in and open up my Airtable app, because my Airtable app is where I'm going to track all of my daily finances. I use this as my main tool for my financial planning. It lists all of my bills, all of my expenses. I get to see which bills are subject to be paid, and then I'm able to go into my different financial apps. Now, I'm not going to go over which banks I happen to use just for security purposes. Hey guys, You never know what kind of shady things are going on, how you're trying to get people's information. But I have several bank accounts for different reasons. I have the joint account with the wife, a personal account, some business accounts. And so each of those accounts have different expenses that are coming out of it. All of those are tracked in my Airtable dashboard, and then I'm able to go into each of those individual apps every day, make sure everything balances out, make sure that all of the transactions are accounted for, make sure there's nothing fishy or shady going on. And that's how I typically start my day. Once all of that is done, I did my reading, I checked in, everything is up to date, then I'm going to sit down and start my day at work. Now, my day at work from 8 to 5 is going to be a whole set of different apps. We won't go through those. Those are, proprietary to the job, but just know that, throughout the day, there's a lot of apps that I'm working on through work. 5 o'clock, right away, when I'm finished completing my work, I'll shut down, and then I'll go ahead and get my night routine started. Now, this is broken down to two things. So there's things that I do immediately after I finish work, and then there's things that I do at night where I have a lot more time that's focused and dedicated. So as soon as I shut down, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and check my emails again. So I'm going to open up my Outlook app, and I'm going to open up my Gmail app and check all of my emails. This now gives me a little bit more time where if it's something that takes a little bit more thought, that's more in depth, I'm able to respond to those comments. Then I'll go ahead and I'll check my YouTube stats again, make sure there's no new comments that came in throughout the day, see if there's anything that needs to be tended to. And then I'll walk away, get the dog settled in, and then taking her for a nighttime walk. And again, so that gives me another 30 minutes or so. Typically, I'll go ahead and listen to Audible. I'll open up one of my books, and I'll do a little bit of listening to a book so I can learn something. There are occasions where I may open up the YouTube app and watch a YouTube video or something while I walk the dog. So those are the two things that typically keep me occupied, while I do that. So then I come home and I unwind a little bit. I'll get myself some dinner, sit down with the wife, have some conversations, get updates as to what's going on, make sure that there's nothing falling through the cracks on a personal level. And then when I'm done and I'm able to put all that aside, then it's time to get my dedicated focus in. So this is my real quality time to work on my side hustles and my businesses. And so first thing I'll do is I'll open up my Notion dashboard, and that dashboard is going to give me a highlight of all of my projects. So depending on what I want to work on that day, it's going to be, a selection of different apps and a different flow of the apps that I access, but mostly every day is going to be a combination of Camtasia and Adobe Premiere Pro. Now that's because I am managing a couple different YouTube channels. I have my own. I'm working on a different project, and so there are different projects that I'm working on, and I'm learning how to edit better through Adobe Premiere Pro. So I want to make sure I spend at least a half an hour every day honing those skills. So I'll go in the Adobe Premiere Pro app, practice out a few things, learn a few things. I'll go to Camtasia, edit some videos that I'm currently working on, get some B-roll footage or what have you. The next app I use all the time is Canva, because that is my graphic design app of choice. Most of the graphic design that I do is through Canva. So any assets that I'm working on, thumbnails, graphic design, things for maybe social media posts, I'll go into Canva and start creating and working on tools that way. Next thing is a dedicated time for learning. Now, there's a lot of different learning apps that are available. It may be different for you. I've tried a bunch of them. So there's Skillshare, there's Code Academy, there's Free Code Camp, there's all kinds of different apps. Depending on what you're learning, there's different apps that may work for you. Right now, my go-to learning app of choice is LinkedIn Learning. So as I'm skilling up and I'm building additional skills and certificates, I'm able to directly connect it to my LinkedIn profile so that other people will see it. And number two, it just has a wide range of different topics. So regardless of what it is you want to focus on, you'll be able to find some great choices at LinkedIn Learning. So that's my learning app of choice. Make sure I spend at least an hour every day learning something new, building my skills, and it changes from day to day. There's a couple different projects that I'm working on, a couple different passion projects, things that I'm curious about. And so I won't work on the same lesson every day, but there is every day that I work on a lesson, if that makes any sense to you. Another must-have app is my Microsoft Word. Now, Word is used for various things. I use it a lot during the day at work, obviously, but when I'm using it for my personal time, there's two things that I mostly use it for. I use it to script my videos, and I use it to write my newsletters drafts. I'll work on whatever videos I'm scripting, whatever newsletters I'm working on, and to accompany Microsoft Word, make sure that you have Grammarly. Grammarly is a lifesaver because it helps you with your writing overall. It helps you with your spelling and your grammar. I highly suggest that if you don't have Grammarly, that is a must-have for anybody who's typing anything, whether it's emails, newsletters, scripts, what have you. Grammarly is the way to go. Oftentimes I'll go in, I'll check Gumroad, which is the tool that I use for my digital products. I have a lot of templates that are available for sale through for Airtable and Notion, and Gumroad is the tool that I use to sell those. So I'll go in and check my stats, see if there's any comments that need to be responded to. I also like to come around a little bit and look around at different options and different things that are being sold on Gumroad, because it may spark my mind to create something else or other projects that I can get involved in. So Gumroad is a great resource for those that are digital creators. There's a lot of different digital products that are sold there, and a great resource for you to brainstorm, get ideas, and use it as a platform. If you are a digital creator and you want to know how to use Gumroad, I did a video on this a few weeks ago. I'll make sure I have a link down below in the description for that video. Go in and check it out. It's real easy to use and a simple way to get your digital products up and on the market. The last thing that's very important for all of us to have, it is a must-have software app for everybody, is some type of cloud storage. Now for me, I have two different cloud storage options. I use Microsoft OneDrive and I use Google Drive. Now the reason why I have two is that for Microsoft OneDrive, that's where I put all of my personal information. And then the Google Drive is for all of my business and my side hustle stuff. I understand that is a lot easier for us just to save it on top of the computer in the computer storage. But guys, make sure that you have a backup plan. Make sure you have all of your important files backed up to some type of cloud storage. It is absolutely necessary. You don't want to be that person that has all of your stuff saved to the computer and either your computer breaks or gets corrupted or something happens and your drive gets wiped clean and you lose it all. There's no reason for that in today's environment. Make sure you have some type of cloud storage to back up all of your content, especially things that are very important that will be hard to get back. So hopefully you'll be able to walk away from this video knowing which tools you can use on a daily basis to help keep your workflow more productive and organized. It doesn't have to be these exact tools, but these are some of my favorites. And again, I'll have a link in the description to all of these. If you want to go ahead and give them a try, make sure you go ahead and click on that link. If this is something that brought value to you, make sure you hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithm knows that I brought you some value. This helps get the word out to other people. If you know others that are going to benefit off of this, make sure you share this video with them. And if you want to hear more things like this, more ideas on tips, tricks, books, resources that'll help you skill up and improve your life in this digital era, then subscribe to the channel. I'll be happy to have you as a subscriber. And if you want to follow me on my journey all along, get more in-depth personal views on my successes and failures, then go ahead, subscribe to the newsletter. The link will be down below. As always, it's been a pleasure sharing this with you guys. I'm your boy Paul, and I'm happy to share my journey. Hopefully, I'll see you more along the way. Take care, guys.